and no Chinese food.
What's going on, you wonderful people? I'm Big Rob, and this is a brand new episode of Big Rob's House of Entertainment, No Chinese Food. I am at home today. It is a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, sunny day in January in South Georgia, which means it's about 30 degrees at night and about 50 degrees during the day. It's wonderful fat man weather, I'll be honest with you. I'm coming to you today with another one of my movie review episodes. If you've seen any of my previous movie reviews, that may be the wrong term for it. I do general breakdowns of the movies. I tell you a little about the main characters. I try and throw in some interesting factoids that I find. I don't grade movies because, well, I'm a dingus. You know, that's me. I don't feel like I have the authority to give it any kind of star rating or anything like that. I tell you what I like and what I don't like, okay? And I don't do new movies, as a matter of course. Most of what I do is from the 80s, some from the 70s, some from the 90s. And the reason that I do this is because... Apologies. The reason that I do this is because I just think that the movies that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s and 70s was some of the greatest movies that were ever made. And I got a niece and a couple of nephews now, and I think that I really want them to be able to enjoy these kind of movies as well. So I tell a little bit about them in hopes that they'll watch them. Of course, I don't think they watch my channel either, but I still share it with you guys because I love you guys too. A while back, I did pick up a box set of DVDs from probably Walmart from the Cannon Film Group. If you don't know the name Cannon, it's probably because you're born, after the year 1995. Cannon was a film group in the late 80s and the early 90s that created just an absolute ton of B-movie action movies. They were like the kings of the genre, okay? Movies like Invasion USA, Cobra, Over the Top, Missing in Action, Masters of the Universe. They did a bunch more. They did movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme. They did movies with Chuck Norris. But it's really good, high-quality action movies, right? And the movie I'm talking about today is going to be called The Hitman from 1991. Not to be confused with the 2007 movie Hitman, starring Timothy Olyphant, based on the video game series. Also a good movie, not what I'm talking about today. So, this movie, the 91 The Hitman, is considered a box office success. It did about $4.6 million at the box office. Sorry, I don't have these numbers memorized. I'm not that smart. And it starred the great Chuck Norris as Cliff Garrett / Danny Grogan. We'll get to that in a minute. Chuck Norris, one of the greatest action stars ever. He was Walker, Texas Ranger. He was Lone Wolf McQuade, Delta Force, Missing in Action. He is the absolute man. And if you search the internet for any second or two, you'll find a billion Chuck Norris facts about the fact that when Chuck Norris does push-ups, he doesn't push up, he pushes the earth down. You know what I'm saying? Chuck Norris is awesome. He's a karate grandmaster and an all-around good guy. This particular movie, I think he should have a co-starring credit with his hair because he has one of the most glorious mullets that I have ever seen in my life. It is shiny and curly and flowing and beautiful. And I am insanely jealous of his hairdo from this movie. Just saying. Movie also stars Michael Parks as Ronnie Dale Delaney. That will be Chuck Norris's partner from the force. Michael Parks has been in 250, 270 odd movies. He was in Dust Till Dawn. He was in Django Unchained. Those were kind of like the two biggest ones that I seen that I remember him from. But he's one of those actors that when you see him, you're like, oh yeah, it's that guy. You know what I'm saying? Also starred Al Waxman as Marco Lugani, one of the mob bosses. Al Waxman, most famously from Cagney and Lacey, again, done tons and tons of other TV and movie work. Alberta Watson as Christine DeVera. She was in the 97 La Femme Nikita. I think she was also in the 2011 Nikita reboot with Maggie Q. She's been in a bunch of other stuff too. Marcel Saborin. I don't know, probably saying that wrong. He's French, so who cares? He played Andre Lacombe, the French mobster. I didn't know France had mobsters. That seems, I don't know, dumb. Anyway, he was in The Sum of All Fears and a bunch of other movies. A lot of them were foreign, which means nobody around here watched them. Sum of All Fears was a great movie, though, so there you go. Not a star of the movie. In fact, only in one scene, but one of those things was one of those like, hey, that was interesting. William B. Davis plays Dr. Atkins. William B. Davis is the cigarette smoking man from the X-Files. I just thought that was cool. They say he's only in one scene. Not important to the story, really. Just interesting. All right, so here's the story. And by the way, just like Hassel's reviews, watch Hassel's reviews. This is going to be full of spoilers because let's face it, this movie came out in 1991. If you haven't seen it yet, that's on you. And actually, if you haven't seen it yet, this is probably a good thing. Stop it, go watch it, and then come back. We'll talk about it. Or listen to me tell you about it, and then you can decide if you want to watch it. Or just stop the video and go to another one. I don't, I hope you continue watching it. Anyway, so Cliff, Chuck Norris, and Dale, Michael Parks, are cops in Seattle. I didn't know the mob existed in Seattle. I thought it was a New York, Chicago thing, but whatever. All right. So they're cops, and they're out on patrol, whatever, one night, and there's some hinky stuff going down at the docks, and so Chuck Norris gets out of the car to go investigate, and he beats up a lot of mob guys, and his partner shows up, and they kind of get together and find out his partner double crosses him and shoots him, leaves him for dead, kicks him out a window because his partner's a bad guy. Yeah, that happens. So then the next thing you see, this is the part with the cigarette smoking man and the cop boss. I didn't write his name down because he's really not that important to the story either. Anyway, they talk about the fact that, excuse me, I apologize. Chuck Norris did survive, but that they were the only two that knew about it, so let's keep it that way. And then you got to fast forward for about 2 years on a time break. Next thing you see is we're in the mob boss Lugani's office with a couple of his guys, his advisor, and Chuck Norris, who now goes by the name Danny Grogan as undercover as a hitman. And Lugani tells his lieutenants that Grogan's going to start taking over for him as his like right-hand man, which really ticks off one of his lieutenants, and so Grogan shoots him. Because that's how you handle things in the mob, I guess. I've never been in the mob. Probably that works, though. Anyway, so the gist of the story is this, is you've got the Italian mob with Lugani. You've got the French-Canadian mob with Lacombe. He's actually from Vancouver, but he's working his way into Seattle. And then you've also got a group of Iranians. I don't know if it's the same Iranians from Back to the Future, or if this is a different group. Now, was that even Iranians? I don't know. Either way. Terrorist scumbags, right? So anyway, so you've got these three groups that are vying for control of the drug trade in Seattle. That just, all right. Sorry, it's a big city. Sure, there's a lot of people to buy drugs, I guess. Okay. So anyway, so Grogan, in his role as hitman / right-hand man to Lugani, he goes and starts trying to pit the Lacombe family and the Iranians against each other, and as a cop undercover against Lugani, all three together. And there are some really epic shootouts. There's some cool explosions, some fires. There's very little story because it's canon. There didn't need to be story. There's just really epic violence, and they did it well. It's a really good movie for that. Anyway, on a side story, there's a kid named Tim that lives in the apartment like across the way from where Chuck Norris lives. Chuck Norris befriends him, and because why wouldn't you? Because he's actually a nice guy, even though he's undercover as a mob hitman. And unfortunately, his ex-partner, Dell, finds Tim and ties him up, threatens to kill him. He doesn't, thankfully. Some very racist stuff is said. It's the 90s, and it was the bad guy saying it. So, I mean, and then, so they have a showdown. There's an explosion. Sorry. Dell rigs Grogan's apartment to explode with the kid in it. Somehow the kid doesn't die. I don't understand this. Maybe the bomb was in the bedroom or something. I don't know. But anyway, the kid gets, concussed and cut up and stuff, but he doesn't explode. That seems like poor placement of explosives to me, but, I'm not the bad guy here. So anyway, Tim goes to the hospital. His mom's there watching over him. So Grogan feels it's okay to leave them be for a little while, and he goes and he starts exacting some revenge. So it all culminates in this huge showdown that Lugani's here, Lacombe's here, and the Iranians are all here. Everybody shoots everybody. Everybody gets gunned down. Gets down to the last couple people that's left is Dell and one Iranian dude and Grogan. And Grogan shoots the Iranian dude in the face with a shotgun, which was really neat. And then he beats the crap out of Dell. Ties Dell up, puts him in a chair, and has him swinging outside of a building. And tells him, that his time's up, he's through, whatever. And about the time all the cops show up. So the head cop, I forgot what his name was, it didn't really matter. Him and Chuck Norris are standing there talking about Dell. He's already mad at Chuck Norris for killing so many people because, you're not supposed to do that. And Chuck says, and they say, well, so it's over now. And Chuck Norris is like, oh, it's almost over. And they go to walk away. You see that underneath the chair is another set of explosives, and it explodes Dell, and there's just like chunks of blood and viscera and people flying everywhere, or person flying everywhere. And that's the end of the show. So, again, the story's not really deep. It doesn't need to be. But it was a good story. One guy undercover against the entire 3 different mobs. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Lots of really awesome explosions, lots of really awesome gunfire, gunplay. Again, this is the early 90s, so it's not the same kind of effects that you see today where they use CGI and stuff and you see people, but it's all practical, which I think is better anyway. That's just me. I love practical effects. The movie was directed by Aaron Norris, which is Chuck Norris's brother. They did several movies together, actually, I believe. Aaron Norris's kids, and I think wife, were actually in the movie as the French guy's family. Pretty interesting there. I also read that this was supposed to have been a movie that was written for Charles Bronson, but for some reason he dropped out, or they decided to offer it to Chuck Norris. I didn't see a reason why. Just thought that was interesting. I wrote something. Canon, while it again, watch some of my other reviews of Canon movies, they were always, apologies, they were always having problems with getting funding and stuff, especially there at the end. And so I actually read that the production company that took care of their film and stuff refused to let them have the film for this until they actually set up a payment plan to pay for having this stuff taken care of. So it was tough times for Canon Films. Anyway, well worth watching. Apologies, I had a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm the weather change is just playing havoc on my sinuses. I apologize. Anyway, I did purchase this film again as part of the Canon box set from Walmart. If you want to watch it, I did see that it's available on the Fandango app with ads for free, or you can buy it. You can buy it from Prime Video, buy it through the Google Play store videos. You can buy it on Fandango. You can probably find it on DVD, I would imagine. Maybe eBay or Amazon or something like that. But if you just want to stream it, like I said, if you don't mind the ads, still on Fandango, that's probably the easiest way. And it's worth it. It's only like an hour and a half, maybe a little longer. So it's a quick watch. It's always fun. That's going to have to do it for me today. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Make sure you do check out my bud's Hassel and Monster over at the Nerdy Man Room Show and Hassler's Review. Make sure you check out my bud Chris Dailey over at Chris Dailey's Fueled by Weird. Check out our other YouTube channel that we all share, the Stay Weird Network. Hassel and Monster have both started dropping some new Hassel and Monster have both started dropping some new video series. I'll say that right in a minute. They're both really cool. One's on pro wrestling. The other one is on action figures and toys. So some good stuff depending on your interests. I should be back next week. Until then, may the force be with you.